Welcome, and may you be well. I would like to open up today's session by asking you, have you ever experienced in life as, let's say, you're working on a hobby, you are drawing, you're painting, perhaps you're writing, you are in a relaxed state, maybe you're listening to music, and suddenly an idea comes into your mind, a hunch, an idea so bright that you say that it could change the world, perhaps that it will sell very good, perhaps it's part of what your greatest dream of life it is, but nonetheless you just call it a hunch. Have you ever wondered what it is? Today I am explaining it. The term we use for this is a term developed by many gentlemen that have been studying it for the past 100 years. But in reality, it's a science that has been foregoing for centuries, if not millennia. In modern times, it's what we call infinite intelligence. It's been recently appointed by Mr. Napoleon Hill from his book Think and Grow Rich. It has been reserved in the last chapter of the book for those who have been faithful to its reading and understanding. He realized very well that it required a lot of acceptance in the ideas in order for the person who was reading it to accept and understand this very basic principle that we all live in and possess. If we could explain it like that. What is infinite intelligence, you may ask? Infinite intelligence is energy that exists around you, such as the hunches, ideas, we could say, that exist around you in the form of a frequency. Both ideas and energy are coming in the form of a frequency that if you know how to align with, you will receive, and it will display in your mind all of the content that it has, pretty much as if you were downloading it. Throughout history, there's been many men that have used, and I say used, infinite intelligence to their advantage because they knew how it operates. They knew how to align. Great examples are Sir Nikola Tesla, Mr. Thomas Alva Edison, the Wright brothers, I will say again, Mr. Henry Ford, among other brilliant minds, especially in those times where technology was limited, and they created marvelous inventions that took humanity into the next level, such as well another honorable mention is Dr. Guillermo Marconi, who created the telephone and its principles. When he came up with the idea through a hunch from infinite intelligence on how to create this device, when he understood the principles on how to communicate through the ether, as they will say back then, people thought that he was crazy and they tried to send him into an asylum. Normally I will choose to think that people who listen to this may also believe the same thing, but I also choose to believe that you're listening because you know it's real. Have you ever thought of your hunches in detail? Have you ever thought of how they come into your mind? We could think of infinite intelligence, as mentioned before, as a set of ideas. And these ideas and their content are tools, resources, knowledge, information that you need in order to fulfill that idea. Step by step, carefully curated by infinite intelligence, which is a being, a sentient being that does not hold a vessel, and it's seeking a vessel into which this may be set, transposed, or brought into a physical realm. Just as Mr. Thomas Alva Edison converted all of these ideas into inventions, or Sir Nikola Tesla as well, Dr. Guillermo Marconi did, and the Wright brothers found a way to defy nature to achieve flight, and Mr. Henry Ford created a mechanical device for transportation that will replace the buggy and the horse. You may think of this as a frequency that's being broadcasted constantly, as a radio wave, if you may think, and you may think of you being like a radio. This frequency is constantly going, passing through, and you are living life by playing with the dial, listening to noise all the time, and now and then, when you happen to be relaxed and on a state that allows this flow to pass more naturally, you accidentally stumble into the right channel and information becomes clear. You hear it for a brief moment, but as you snap back into reality, you keep on tuning on these channels, playing with the dial, and you lose connection. Now we'll explain on how we can better align with the use of this sense to perceive infinite intelligence. Or in a simpler term, how to allow hunches to occur more frequently so that you may use them into your advantage. Because they have a great benefit, but this great benefit will be only plenty clear by the end of this video. And I am certain you will make great use of this, and it will only bring clarity. But for now, I would like to explain with what I call the car analogy. And for this, we have to explain how we work as in our bodies and in our minds. And for this, I will make use of what it's called the mind and body diagram, which was refined just recently by Mr. Bob Proctor, a relevant figure on all of this subject. And it looks like this. We will start by talking about the mind. And a representation of the mind comes like this. This is the mind, which connects to your body. You may think of this as a head if you want, but we're thinking about the mind, not the brain, the mind, that in which you exist. And it's composed of two main components. One is the conscious mind, and the other is the subconscious mind. The conscious mind has the task of thinking. It is, as you may think, what does the processing of the information that you receive constantly, at least in terms of filtering out things through saying what's valuable and what's not valuable. And all of this information is sent to your subconscious mind, which runs a program, and your body acts on whatever your subconscious mind has, and it will vibrate, giving us a result. A result through action. But this is incomplete because we're lacking an extremely important section or part of this. And this is on how the mind perceives the world. We need senses. And we possess 5 fundamental senses. Which are sight, hearing, we have tasting, smelling, and feeling, as in touch. Through the use of these senses, which are extremely sensitive, this is how you perceive your environment in life. This is how you perceive reality. The senses will give information to the conscious mind, which will process it, and it will filter and decide what is valuable and needed for the subconscious mind, which will run a program in which your body will, we can say, vibrate or act upon, giving us a result. A result that will be either positive or negative. And we will dwell on this in a moment. Because in life, everything that we perceive can be divided in positive and negative outcomes, we could say. This is that through the use of your senses, you will perceive an event and you will diagnose what do you take out of it. Will you take something positive out of this through your senses or something negative? This will enter into your conscious mind, which will ultimately decide what it will take, a negative or positive outcome. And this will be sent to your subconscious mind. And depending on what it took, this will be sent down into your body, and through vibration the body will act, giving us positive or negative action that will end up on positive or negative results. In a moment I will explain a story that will help you understand exactly this. But what is important is that all of us possess a sixth sense which is not very well known. And this, we could simply call it the sense of reception. This sense is an antenna that allows the flow of infinite intelligence which exists all around you through the universe in the form of ideas or energy It's constantly around you. And only when you learn how to tune in into the right frequency, which serves your own purpose, infinite intelligence will assign an idea and will send it right into you. And this will enter into your conscious mind, and you will choose what to do with it. More often, these ideas have a very positive outcome. You can use your faculty of imagination, as it is very impressive most of the times to think of this hunch. You have felt it. You usually will feel extremely energized. You will feel like your heart is running fast. And as a fact, did you know that the heart has its own electric charge independent from the body? Please know that all of the information I am giving from this video, it's not something I have come up with. I am just simply a humble ambassador of this knowledge. So feel free to search on books or on the internet. Same goes for the heart. It is true. It is a fact. Medical fact. And when you have these hunches, which more often have something to do with your dreams, with a great desire, with something that you want to create in order to give, something that is great, perhaps at times maybe it sounds a little bit impossible, your heart becomes energized. Because it's positive. And your mind focuses on this positive side of things. But nonetheless, the conscious mind has the possibility of choosing to discard this information and cast it away. It's simply sent back into the universe. But these ideas are unique. They're mostly meant only for you to accomplish. Only you possess it. Once this idea is in you, no one else has it. Not in this exact same way that you have it. You must understand this. It's unique. That's why you are also unique. Because you have a purpose in life. In a moment, we will also discuss this further, but going through the car analogy, now that we understand how the body acts and that we have a sixth sense, that is basically our receptor of this infinite intelligence, let's turn it into a simpler example, and let's think of a car. We can think of the conscious mind as the driver, the subconscious mind as the computer of the vehicle, or perhaps the engine. More like the computer, as the body acts as the whole mechanized part of the vehicle, the wheels, the engine, everything that moves, takes this vessel into another place. But this vehicle runs with fuel. And the one big problem is that most people do not know either what kind of fuel you should be putting in it or how to fuel it. You will meet people that are going through what I call the highway of life. We'll make a space here. A highway of life. Because you as a vehicle, as a being, you have a purpose. And your purpose as the vehicle and the driver is to go from A to B. Nothing more, nothing less. That's the only thing that the vehicle does. From A to B. B is your purpose. And when you have defined your purpose in life, then you know already about how to tune into infinite intelligence, we could say. But what you may be lacking is the correct fuel to get you there. And this will lead to you becoming stranded in the middle of the way. When you don't know how to feel it, is when you lack purpose. When you lack purpose in life, you feel stuck. You are stuck. You feel miserable. This is when you don't understand your purpose. If you think you have a purpose, but you think it's absurd, if you think that it's boring, it's not your definite chief aim, this you will recognize immediately. It's going to be that thing that makes your heart feeling energized. It will start to spin on itself, and your body will start to irradiate energy and happiness, and health and wealth will come to you. That is, if you know how to feel it, to get there. Because knowing it is just half the equation solved, or half the way there. Some people in life have understood this much better. And this can be people that you think are more realized, maybe important figures, relevant figures that you see on the news or that you feel admiration for. The only one difference between you and them is that they have learned how to aim and go towards their purpose in life. Their vehicle goes from A towards B. Maybe they are not in B yet, but they make small increments every single day to get there. And their lives are incredible. Their lives are full of happiness, health, and wealth. Happiness, health, and wealth. Because they know how to do this. This will become more clear by the end of this video. But for now, please keep paying attention. Those people are going through the highway of life and they see you stranded in the middle of the highway. They may stop and lend you fuel. Not many others are as accomplished. Perhaps they know what this purpose is, but nonetheless they get stuck now and then, and sometimes they make a bit of progress. Perhaps other people also have given them fuel because they know how to fuel their vehicle. They know how to open the cap and set the fuel in, because you are so ignorant on this basic principle that out of desperation you grab this gasoline and you pour it over the vehicle, hoping that through a little crack it will leak into wherever it has to go so that you may fuel it. These people have done that correctly and they have managed to get there, but they don't know how exactly or what exactly is inside of this gasoline, what's the chemical component. So sometimes this, we could say, kind of incomplete people, but that they're fighting through life, they will also stop by and they will give you as well something when they see you struggling through life, and they will give you a substance that they believe is what makes their engine run. Because they know something that at times these people have stopped and given them the correct fuel that has helped them move forth. This fuel is advice, it's wisdom, it's knowledge. These people have acquired this from infinite intelligence. And the fuel itself is infinite intelligence. Infinite intelligence is what moves you from A to B, and they know how to acquire fuel, how to acquire infinite intelligence. Infinite intelligence gives you ideas, and ideas are composed of all of these knowledge, tools, and resources, information that you require in order to achieve it. In order to achieve it. They give you some through whatever has worked out for them. And this sometimes works out for you. You will receive a lot of different types of fuels because everyone has a different kind of vehicle. And some motivational speakers will tell you something that will awaken you finally and will make you progress. Hopefully you can see that here. It will make you progress. A little bit. But you will move towards the goal. From A to B. Yet you keep getting stuck. And these people only know that which helped them a little bit. So they give you substances. And this can be unsolicited advice. For example. But more often, any kind of fuel that you put into your system is passing through filters, which are your senses. Because ultimately, you use your senses to become more receptive, and you use your reception to amplify the correct use of your senses too. So you do not know what this is, you are unable to use correctly your filters, and therefore you will keep on putting substances that are often not working, and they may in danger create or cause your engine, your vehicle to malfunction, to get sick. You just get stuck because a lot of different advice is not working, because you need very specific ideas that align with your own purpose, with your own goal, with your own type of fuel. Some people will share a little bit of the same one, but you out of this desperation will still just pour it all over your vehicle, hoping that something will get in, and that's when you get a hunch. A hunch is when a droplet of this fuel gets into your fuel chamber and your system ignites, the computer comes on and gives you a slight image of your purpose. You must learn how to first grasp it, process it, and understand it, and feel how your heart becomes energized out of this. Now, you have become then like these people that are perhaps a little bit incomplete because they know how to open the valve. Maybe you finally learn how to open the valve, how to grab the canister and set it in. And through trial and error, at some point you finally understand that you need a specific kind of fuel. So what you do is that you then become a person with a purpose, with a definite chief aim, with the small increments. But here's the catch. When you stop on your first gas station that sells the fuel that you need, now you have finally understood that you have a cap that you can unscrew and allow the flow of the fuel or infinite intelligence. We're going to call this infinite intelligence. And allows the flow of this fuel through your cap that's open finally, instead of being blocked and not allowing it, it's open. And this gives a flow of information to your driver that knows where to go. And the computer runs the system that will allow this to function properly, giving you the positive results that you're looking for. But here's the catch. You open up the valve, finally, you grab the hose, firmly you set it in the correct hole, and you press firmly, but nothing comes out. I gave you the answer of this problem just a moment ago. And I would like you to think about it for a moment. If you compare it to the real life example, you will rapidly understand that fool is he who believes they can just grab the hose, put it in, and that gasoline will magically start flowing. It's being sold. It has a price. It uses currency. On your first gas station, you will encounter currency. It costs to get the gasoline to move you through these small sections, because more often you will only earn enough currency to move yourself through small increments. Currency is not money as you may think of it normally. The currency that infinite intelligence operates with is in direct relation of your purpose in life. What is the nature of your purpose? The nature must be of a generous and kind. The purpose must be of a generous and kind nature. What does this mean? It often means that your purpose in life, your goal, your dream, can be rendered into something that will give to others, because there is nothing in life such as getting without giving. You must give. Infinite intelligence, ultimately, it's giving these ideas to a vessel that will fulfill them and render them into a real physical plane. Because this is a sentient being without a vessel that's looking someone to fulfill it. And this being is seeking for someone that is worth it. You must show that you have the worth to perform the great tasks that infinite intelligence will give you. And in return, you will get great riches, you will achieve great happiness, and you will get great health. Exactly what these people do. Because every single time that they make small increments, it's because they have become more worthy of that purpose. Because they have shown up for themselves. And they have shown up for infinite intelligence. They said, I will get this. I request to obtain this. And in return, I will give this to the world. Let's say you want to create advancements in the development of hypersonic flight so that it's more quiet. And this will bring great services for speed of travel as never known before in humankind. In a cheaper way too. Let's add that. But for that you need capital. And you start by requiring, let's say, $10,000. This is what you will request to infinite intelligence. I request this capital. And you will start there. And it will analyze the nature of your purpose, if it's generous and kind. You're not just doing it for yourself. Because that capital you're intending to use for achieving this. You're not intending to use for your own pleasing. Because woe be unto those who try to trick infinite intelligence and drive the other way. If you try to trick it, you will end up in a desert and you will end up stranded. But infinite intelligence is generous, and it will allow you to step back and track. If you learn from your mistakes, you cannot trick it. It does not serve the selfish. It only serves those who want to give. I would like to briefly explain an example on how this became a reality. From a young man that learned how to use his senses correctly and had a purpose in life to provide something great, a great service that would please millions of people, and until today's date we can still see it. And you have likely tried it. There was a young man who did not have many resources. He was mostly struggling in life, feeling somewhat stuck. But one day he received a hunch, an idea that he could develop something so great that will serve the world. And so he adhered to this belief that he could achieve it. And as he started to believe this, all of his senses became potentialized by the reception of this information. And so everything he will see, hear, taste, smell, and feel will be aligned with that of positive outcomes into the achievement of a positive result. And one day he stumbled into a pharmacist who had developed a medicine or a substance and had a formula for it. But he was very disappointed. He was frustrated because this substance had not given him what it was promised, great wealth. He wanted to become rich out of it. And he thought this was now useless. And this young man, through his senses, he took the positive out of everything he saw, and he approached him and asked for buying the formula because he believed he could make it work. And the pharmacist laughed at him, wishing him good luck, and for a couple hundred of dollars he sold the formula, pretty much all of the savings this man had. And so off he went, experimenting with it, using his creative imagination and the correct use of his senses, especially that of the taste, of the smell, of the feeling, as he played with this substance in the form of a drink with a mysterious black color. With sight, it captured the curiosity of people, and everyone started to talk about it. You may have now understood we're talking about the successful story of the development of Coca-Cola. This man used all of this senses as a filter for taking the positive things, because the pharmacist was clearly negative. He had a purpose that was only designed for making him rich, and he did not really care much about others. His mindset was all about becoming rich himself, and he lost hope for the realization of his product into something positive. Had he changed his mind, he would have also used this and came up with the same idea. But infinite intelligence found another vessel that proved to be worthy of taking that and making it that reality. A positive result. I would like to mention, you have the power to make any dreams of you a reality. It is clear that many men have defied others and nature itself into the accomplishment of their own dreams, and so you can too. The only thing that's stopping you, it's really yourself, by focusing on using your senses through negative outcomes. By instead of filtering and casting out the negative, you allow it in. And even worse, by not being conscious, because many people do not think. They only allow all of this information to go straight down, and a war between positive and negative occurs in the subconscious, because they don't know when they're perceiving something. They don't understand how to think. You will be in same understanding as I am, and same agreement when I say that when people say you must think positive, you have to become conscious of being positive. Isn't that right? Because you will start to think, how can I make the positive out of this negative event? A powerful tool in psychology. No coincidence. You must learn how to filter this immediately in your conscious mind. Cast away the negative and only take the positive things so that your program runs. This is also what it's called a paradigm, and the use of cybernetics, which will be described in another video. Also, as mentioned before, this is a mind and body diagram, which is clearly defined by Bob Proctor, but so the paradigm also is. The use of cybernetics will be described later on, and this is an idea developed by Dr. Maxwell Maltz. More on that later. You must then therefore understand that here is the change that will make everything change for you. You must change yourself to change your results, your outcomes. It does not happen by chance. You must make this effort, and you will get there. And lastly, before I conclude with this video, aside of wishing that you may focus on the obtaining of your dreams for a purpose and the fulfillment of your purpose in life, because this will bring only benefits, such as feeling motivated, feeling happy, feeling healthy, and wealth, great wealth will come in your way. It's a subproduct. All of this is a subproduct of simply going towards attainment of your purpose, because infinite intelligence rewards those who give in a generous and kind nature. But I want to conclude by giving an example or an exercise that may help you tune in for this. And this you may search as well on your own. But what has helped many others, and including myself, is simply finding yourself in a dark, empty room, or at least a dark, silent room. You must be alone. Isolate yourself and use 30 minutes of your time to close your eyes, or have them open if it's really impossible to see anything. and try to empty your mind. Empty your mind does not mean that you have to think of nothing. Think of everything until it runs dry of thoughts. Have handy a notebook and a pen. Or perhaps what has helped me is to record from my phone and set it on the table. And these ideas will start flashing upon your eyes. And many inventors have used that technique to write down the ideas and develop them into a physical realm, such as infinite intelligence had requested, because they knew very well those ideas were to serve others, to give before receiving. And ask yourself, have you ever sat in a dark room for 30 minutes in complete silence? Not many people have done. If it's your first time, it will be an intense experience. Try to push it longer. If you can do an hour, that's better. And you will find a lot of things. You will realize that you have a great capacity for using your imagination. Dwell into it. Get lost in it. Talk as you need. Write down as you need. Draw as you need. Express. For me, recording was of extreme usefulness. Maybe it will be for you too. And I can only wish you luck, as this will reveal to you the purpose that you have been looking for. And sometimes you already have it, but you have suppressed it rather than forgotten it. But it will come back again, because this purpose, you will realize that it comes back in your life in different episodes, in different events. It tries to merge back into the surface, but you keep on suppressing it. It is time for you to stop doing that and finally achieve and go after the highest realization of yourself. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.